plays with unwavering confidence, and there isn't a shot he's unwilling to take once he crosses half court. Whether he's floating into a lateral 1-for-3 off a screen, or rising up for a 30-foot bomb early in the shot clock, LaMelo Ball literally does not care. He's almost like the Joker of basketball.
You know, I just do things.
But the thing is, despite Ball taking some ridiculous shots, he's still an extremely talented tough shot maker, and that's on full display in pick and roll. When turning the corner off his screens, Ball loves to get to these galloping step backs, where he's able to cover a ton of ground, but as he picks up into a shot, Melo doesn't bother to plant his feet and stop his momentum. Instead, he'll fire off his jumper while drifting to his left, and this is where Ball loves to use these 1-for-3s, because it allows him to smoothly gather into a shot without having to land on two, which would break up his flow. Now typically Ball has more of a grounded set shot, where he barely gets any lift off the floor while rising up. But what I find really interesting is that if Ball is shooting on the move or needs to elevate over a heavy contest, he can morph into a traditional jump shot. Watch him here aggressively shift out towards the corner, to then catch and land on two, and shoot up into this elevated jumper. When creating separation into his shot, LaMelo's handle also plays a big factor. Off the dribble, he loves to use his pocket dribble, where he brings the ball up to his outside hip, then uses his light feet to create separation. And this on paper might be a carry, but I haven't seen it called yet this year. So LaMelo being able to use multiple steps with one dribble opens the door for a variety of step backs, where he's able to work his man down below the three, to then pick up and float back behind the line. We'll see him here attack pretty deep off the screen, and with one dribble, watch Ball slide the ball behind to then skip back out behind the line for this three. And Ball using this pocket dribble also gives him more time to read the defense. We'll see him here working off the screen to his left, and watch Melo again skate out and bring the ball up, and when he feels the defense giving him space, Ball's going to simply pick up into a left-right shot. I also think Ball this year has really improved his lower body strength, where on top of floating out into 1-for-3s, he can also stop on a dime and rise up off 2 feet. And that lower body strength also upgrades Melo's ability to create space on the perimeter, being able to aggressively attack his spots to get the defense to open up their stance, to then slam the brakes and separate back behind the line. One of Melo's go-to moves has been his right to left behind snatch. Watch him here first hit this aggressive push cross to his right, and when he gets this defender to turn and open up his stance, Ball is going to slide the ball back behind his back, creating plenty of airspace to rise up. Now when looking at Melo scoring from below the three, he does pretty much all his work attacking the basket. So far this year, Ball's mid-range shooting makes up less than 10% of his total jumpers, but because the defense has to extend out and respect Melo on the perimeter, he's able to pretty easily leverage that to create clean drives all the way to the basket. We'll see the Hornets here running a simple two-making with Melo on the wing, and by just lifting up his head, Jaylen Brown completely shoots up out of his stance, giving Melo all this daylight. Over the last few months, I also think Ball has really improved his strength, where he's now more comfortable absorbing and initiating contact off the dribble. We'll see him here pushing the ball on the break, and Melo is going to lift Rozier out of his stance with this hesitant push cross. And as Melo gets into the paint, watch him aggressively pick up and throw his inside shoulder into Rozier's body, to then land on two with plenty of airspace for this floater. And that physicality also extends out to the perimeter, where if Ball is able to get the defense on his hip, he now has the stability to hold his driving line all the way to the basket.
It's over the top of the pick, and a
Ball this year has also added some different pickups into his attacking game, which allows him to slice past tight gap defenders. We'll see him here hit this sweeping left to right crossover, and with his next dribble, notice how Melo is going to step with his left foot and get to this low pickup. And from here, he's got 2 more steps to extend to the basket. Throughout this season, Melo's also been doing a ton of damage with his floater game, where similar to his 3-point shooting, Ball has really good touch, where he can sink these looks while drifting at awkward angles. And then on top of that touch, Ball is also a really good athlete, so if he gets these in-between spots, he's able to pretty consistently rise up and find windows to get these looks off. When playing with the head of steam, Ball also has a great feel of leverage, where if he feels the defense's momentum heavily being pulled downhill, Melo will then gather and pop up for a vertical floater. Notice here how aggressively this defender is scrambling to cut off Ball's angle. So in stride, Melo is going to pick up for this runner, while this defender keeps stumbling forward. And Melo's improved lower body strength also allows him to use some different deceleration steps in the paint. And it takes a ton of strength and body control to effectively hit these moves. Watch him here catch and float into a crossover towards the middle, and instead of driving all the way into the trees, Ball is going to pick up and sink all his weight into his right foot to stop and shoot up this wide open floater. This move here is also pretty tough, where in transition, Ball is going to hit a push cross to his right, and when he gets Al Horford's hips to open up, Ball is going to pick up and float into this right-left Euro step back towards the middle. So as a paint scorer, Melo has taken some real steps forward. He's more comfortable playing through contact, he's able to keep the defense on his hip while attacking downhill, plus he's also added some good depth to his finishing bag. But if you're a longtime subscriber, you know that I love to nitpick. So while Ball's numbers in the paint right now are pretty solid, I still think there's a few things he can improve on. The main thing that stands out to me is Ball's patience in the paint. Again, I do think he's added some good deceleration steps into his bag, but overall I still think Ball heavily leans on his athleticism when finishing in traffic, where if he beats his initial man and is going up against the backline defense, Ball will immediately explode up and try to find a finishing window in the air. And to his credit, Ball is a good athlete, and he has a lead touch around the basket, but this wild off the floor style of finishing is not super consistent, and it does lead to him getting pushed out into some difficult extended out looks. And I'd rather see him lean into his strides and strength on the floor to initiate contact and create more space for him to elevate. Take this play for example. Ball initially hits a nice move by first getting to his right to left behind, to then hit this hezzy cross back to his right. And from this spot, Ball's gone completely past Bam. And I would love to see Ball initiate contact back into his body to keep the space in front of him to finish. But Ball instead quickly picks up and elevates, and Bam's able to time this block from behind. Now look at this play. We'll see Melo split this screen towards the middle, and as this backline defender steps up, I would again love to see Ball use some kind of pro hop or euro to maneuver around him, but instead of taking one more dribble and using these extra steps, Ball's going to instead pick up and explode off the floor, and he gets eaten up by the defense. Now again, I do think Melo's scoring in traffic has gotten way better, and if he can just get more comfortable initiating contact and using some different strides in the deep paint, I think he has the talent to become one of the best rim finishers in the NBA, and that's scary with that unique shot creating ability on the perimeter. So because Ball has established himself as both an effective perimeter and downhill scorer, he naturally draws some pretty heavy attention from the defense. And while Ball at times does jack up some pretty wild shots, he also plays very unselfish, and he's more than willing to make the simple play. In pick and roll, Melo commonly draws two defenders towards the ball, and he's great at keeping his dribble alive to extend the defense, which then gives his teammates more airspace on the catch. We'll see him again here pull two towards the ball, and notice how Ball is going to keep his dribble alive and really look to turn the corner, which then opens up this practice shot for his teammate at the top of the key. And because Melo is turning into a really advanced shooter off the dribble, he also calmly pulls gap defenders out of position. Watch him here snake the screen and skate out back behind the line for one of his step backs. And to take this away, Drew Holiday in help is going to scramble up towards the ball, opening up this corner three for Seth Curry. Melo over the years has also been getting more and more comfortable snapping one-hand passes off the dribble, and he can whip these with both hands. We'll see him here read Bridges cut into open space in the lane, and in one motion, Ball is going to transfer the ball through and laser this left-hand dime. This is also a pretty advanced pass here, where Melo is going to attack hard to his right, to then pick up and elevate the ball with one hand. And watch him use his eyes to sell this pass to the wing, to then zip it over to the corner. So right now, I think Melo is proving that he's got the talent and skill to be a consistent on-ball creator. His play style may be pretty wild, but his numbers from 3 and at the rim are very good. There's still a lot of unanswered questions with how exactly his game will translate to the postseason, but there's still no denying that LaMelo Ball is both a very entertaining and talented basketball player. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments who the kid should break down next. The kid's here, in 3-point attempts per game, but along with that high volume, his accuracy has also been pretty good. Mechanically, Ball does have a pretty unorthodox shot, releasing the ball at shoulder level while having both elbows flare out. But with his jumper, Ball is able to both get it off quickly with minimal effort, and this gives him a quick trigger into his shot, which is really deadly when you pair that with Melo's unconscious mindset. Similar to what we saw in high school, LaMelo best defense. Now so far this year, Ball has been doing his biggest chunk of work from behind the three, where he now leads the NBA. He made a name for himself with his wild and chaotic style of play. But jumping forward to today, we're now seeing LaMelo play the exact same way on the highest basketball stage. And he just had back-to-back 30-point games against the NBA's best. LaMelo Ball since high school has been one of the most entertaining and polarizing prospects in the basketball world, where he